It's Ross here from the future. Just to let you know that there are a couple of audio issues at the start of this week's Hold and Give Football podcast. You're not going mental when there's lots of big pauses right at the very start of the show. But after the first couple of moments, just like Eddie Howe's time as Newcastle United manager, after a shaky start, it's all plain sailing from there. Please accept our apologies for this little disturbance at the start of the podcast. I blame Jack Atkins. Internet was only introduced to Liverpool a matter of weeks ago. Thank you very much for your time. You've got to hold and give and do at the right time, and the right time is now to do a podcast about the football. I'm joined as always by the illustrious Jack Atkins / Clive F. Clive, how are you doing today?
I mustn't complain, but I've been better, Ross. I've been better. I'll just leave it at that.
You can't leave it so open-ended like that. What? How could you be better today? I want specifics. I need details.
Well, I took a week off recently, and obviously after 3 days of having a week off, my back went, so then I had to stay on the couch against my own wishes. So I was in a great mood, and came back to work last week and instantly got a cold, which I'm still clinging on to. So great. 35 soon.
My God.
Great.
We better put a smile on your face, Clive, by letting you roam free and wild like those wild horses that Susan Boyle loves to frolic with and tickle the bollocks of. Please, Clive, give us your on this day, you pee freely, what happened on this day in football history. I've just realised I like to fill time with random bollocks that makes no sense at all.
I mean, to be fair, I was going to say we've made a career, but what you've made a career and I've ridden off your coattails of filling air with bollocks. So long may it continue.
It's crap, though, and it's crap. I much prefer being the the colour guy, not the play-by-play guy. I prefer being the Ali McCoist, not the Martin Tyler.
I mean, no one wants to be Martin Tyler, do they, really?
I wouldn't mind having his legacy. I mean, recent years speak for themselves, but, you know, historically, he's up there with the goats in the mountains, just above the wild horses who Susan Boyle tickles the bollocks of.
But you're only as good as your game, Ross. You know this.
Everyone knows that, right? What happened on this day in football history, please? Put me out of my misery.
I'll tell you. So we're recording this on November the 1st, 2023, the best month of the Roman calendar. But on November the 1st, 1963, we go to Wrexham in Wales. The rain beating down as an expectant mother goes into labour. Soon, a baby boy is born with a strong jaw and a lock of luxurious curls. Ah, my little Leslie, cooed his mother, as lightning struck nearby. The crack of lightning caused the baby to leap out of his mother's arms and connect beautifully with a scissor kick on a passing fly. Ooh, very sparky of him, remarked his dad. Leslie is fine, but let's go by his middle name instead. Our little Mark Hughes.
His first name is Leslie. I had no idea. No wonder he had a face like a slap Darcy's entire life.
Leslie Mark Hughes, apparently, yeah. So we go from 1960 to 1997. Man United were absolutely in their pomp, and not long after bumming Barnsley 7-0, they gave Sheffield Wednesday a good seeing 2-0 with a 6-1 win. 2 goals apiece from Teddy Sheringham and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, 1 from Andy Cole and a John Newsom own goal, and the Owls' goal came from Guy Whittingham when they were 5-0 down.
Guy Whittingham, that doesn't sound like a footballer. Although I think he was a Football League manager not too long ago, wasn't he, Guy Whittingham?
I'm thinking of now Guy Mowbray and Dick Whittingham mixed together, and I tell you, that's an unfortunate image in my head.
Guy Whittingham. Let me Google him because I want to know what he's about. Whittingham. I can't believe Mark Hughes' first name's Leslie. Not that there's anything wrong with the name Leslie. I just assumed that Mark Hughes would not like that name. Anyway, Guy Whittingham is 58 years old currently, and I know him from his time as Portsmouth manager between 2012 and 2013. That's about all he's done. He was manager of AFC Newbury between 05-06. So, yeah, his career reached his peak probably between Portsmouth in 1989 and Aston Villa in 1993. Chef Wed, as you said there. It's illustrious, as Guy Whittingham. He's illustrious.
Talking of illustrious, here's one you'll like. November the 1st, 2014. Newcastle United 1, Liverpool Football Club 0.
Oh, was it Iosi Perez?
It was. Only goal of the day. You went 12th and we sat at 7th. This was the difficult follow-up season for us, and it was Brendan Rodgers' last full season in the dugout before getting turfed out.
I remember that back in those days. Remember, I went for a pint with because obviously I lived at uni with a Scouser. I've said this many times on the podcast. Met up with him. Obviously, this was my first year after uni, the 14-15 season, just to say, how are you getting on and whatnot. And they were being typical brash Scousers, going, "All right, you're lot of crap. We're going to come to St James's and wipe the floor with you." And what happened? We won 1-0. This was, I remember, there was like a bit of a resurgence for Newcastle around this time with Iosi Perez, who arrived from Tenerife with no reputation whatsoever for like £1.5 million or something like that, and he was leading the line with the likes of Mehdi Abid in midfield, flanked by Jack Colback. Daryl Yanmat at right back, and it was like, well, we're moving up the league here, and obviously got a big win over Liverpool.
Yeah, where did you? I can't. This is good. This is the kind of tone which makes me sound like I'm being an arsehole, but like I genuinely don't know. Where did you finish that season? Was it a decent season in terms of 2014-15?
It's the one where we just escaped relegation, where Jonas Gutierrez scored like on the last day of the season against West Ham to keep us up. Because soon after this game here, it might have been the start of December, that sort of time of 2014. Pards left to go back to Crystal Palace, and we replaced Pards with John Carver, who was Pards' assistant manager, but even worse than Alan Pardew. "Oh, I believe I'm the best coach in the league. Me, I'm John Carver." Yeah, we finished 15th on 39 points that season.
And can I say that was a beautiful Vic Reeves impersonation there as well?
Thank you very much. But this win against Liverpool, I've just got the results on that from that season. So 18th of October, we beat Leicester 1-0. I remember Gabby Obertan scored on that day. The big screen at St James's Park was broken that day, so kickoff was delayed. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Newcastle 2. Newcastle 1, Liverpool 0. West Brom 0, Newcastle 2. Newcastle 1, QPR 0. Then we went to West Ham and got beat 1-0, and then basically didn't win another game that season apart from Chelsea at home.
All right. See, around this time, this was my last little spell of working for HMV, because I'd end up moving to Canada in April or May of 2015. So I was working nights at this time, so I was just an absolute shell of a human being. Whether I watched this or not, that's who's to say. Probably, maybe. I can't remember the best of times. Never mind when I'm sleep deprived. But
anything else happen on this day in football history?
No, that's everything I've got.
That's it. Wow. The days are getting a bit... I mean, last week's was a very historical day in terms of going back to the 60s and whatnot for England nationals and other games that happened. But there's no real, moments that happen on these days that we're sat in. We need to change the day of recording to a Tuesday and see what was happening on Tuesdays in football history.
Well, we wait with bated breath for whenever we next come together to do this podcast.
Anyway, over to the Premier League headlines from Game Week 10, as the kids like to call it. Manchester United 0, Manchester City 3. I'm not sure what was going on before kickoff. Jamie Carragher was speculating that maybe there's now an issue between Eric Ten Hag and Raphael Varane at Manchester United, because for some reason Rafa Varane was not picked, and Johnny Evans was picked. Why is he picking Johnny Evans over Varane, who was on the bench? Please tell me, Jack Atkins, you oracle of football.
I don't know, because I'm sure I heard the stat that this was Johnny Evans' first derby since 2012 maybe. Something daft. You can't say that it's an experience thing, because obviously he's got experience, but you'd be starting Varane. I've been seeing more people calling Ten Hag into question, wondering, has he lost the dressing room, or is he at least on the path to losing it? But I don't know what's going on. We say this every week, and it's become almost a crutch now, but I don't know what's going on at Manchester United.
Nobody does. Anyway, we have a VAR call for Hoyland's little Strictly Come Dancing, grabbing him by the waist. I don't know why I said that so pervy there. He was grabbing him by the waist. Len Goodman having a stiffy from beyond the grave. But Roger was grabbed by the waist by Hoyland. You're watching it, the replays after it happened, you're thinking, yeah, that is a penalty. But then you're realising, oh wow, these instances happen so many times during a game. Why is this one in particular being the one called out?
It's weird inconsistencies as well, isn't it? Like you said, to the letter of the law, it's a pen. To me, I felt it was very soft, but it's indicative of the current rules of the game. But like you said, you see these kind of challenges, these kind of tussles all the time, and most of the time it doesn't lead to a pen. I don't know what the difference was here. Perhaps they thought, City are long overdue a penalty at Old Trafford, maybe. Let's gift them one.
What a lovely segue. That was their first penalty at Old Trafford since April 1992 as Erling Braut Haaland sends Andre Onana the wrong way. It's often skimmed over these days now how much of a brilliant middle name Braut is. So I need to I'm bringing the Braut back.
Yeah, I think when you get a dog, you should call it Braut.
I feel like it needs to be a little sort of like soft dog. Like, a Pekingese or something like that. That's going to be called Braut! Just to be, it's like getting an Alsatian and calling it like Snuggles or something like that.
Yeah. But getting a Pekingese and calling it Braut.
But going back to the point of these weird inconsistent calls that referees were making, like Michael Oliver on the VAR was on this game, we saw an example of another sort of Strictly Come Dancing sort of like, it wasn't even that, it was like when, I'm trying to think of this, there's a movie where someone picks up a doll and just starts shaking it until all the body parts fall off. This is what Harry Maguire was doing to Erling Braut Haaland in the second half, but I assume because Jack Grealish's cross at the time didn't go anywhere near Erling Braut Haaland, they didn't give the penalty. It was very strange.
Yeah, because we saw another example of this weekend, didn't we? Where something was given because they said if the ball was on a certain trajectory of flight, then therefore it's the same as playing a last man and potential goal scoring opportunity kind of situation. But I don't know, it seems like a bit of a muddle. And like you said, when you have two in the same game where one's given as penalty and one's not, it's Haaland at the end of the day. Even if the ball wasn't in his immediate flight path, he's that good that he'd probably score it in off his arse or something like that.
Yeah, he does have long limbs as well, which always run to his advantage anyway. Erling Braut Haaland then scores the second goal where he's unmarked at the far post. It was a wonderful move from sort of like, it was from back to front. The ball went from right to left, from left to right, and then Haaland put it in. It was a wonderful goal from back to front, from left to right, and then right to left. No, I've got that the wrong way around. From right to left, then left to right.
Whichever direction it came from, it's the opening bit that you said that he was completely adrift. There was no United players near him at all. Part of that, you could say, is excellent tactics from City to give them the runaround. But at the same time, if you're in that back four for United, you're thinking, right, we need at least one, if not two men on this absolute robot of a player at all times. That's not taking anything away from, you were saying, City's build-up play, but he was wide open. It was ridiculous. And I felt sorry for Onana because I know we've given him a bit of stick recently, but I felt he had a good game despite letting a few in. But yeah, he was let down by his defence here.
He had a really good game, I thought, Onana. He had the saves from Foden in the first half, the Erling Braut Haaland header in the first half. I'm going to stop doing that now. The Haaland one in the second half as well. It feels like he's finding his feet now at Old Trafford, but we do have a reason upcoming in the podcast as to why his form might have been a little bit subpar earlier on in the season. I found this news bit this week, and I can't believe it's a real thing. It would only be Manchester United these days this would be happening to. Should I say it now? I might as well say it now, mightn't I? While we're here, we'll get it up. Why not? Let me try and find it. Me notes. You're not going to believe this. What do you think the reason is that Onana's form was a little bit shaky at the start of the season?
The only thing I can think of is that he maybe got a cold due to the leaking roof of Old Trafford. That's the only thing I can think of.
Even more ridiculous than that. I'll read it out for you. Manchester United's players have complained about the kits being provided by Adidas, a new report has revealed, with goalkeeper Andre Onana currently wearing a replica jersey until sizing issues are resolved. The Daily Mail reports that another issue United are facing are over the quality of kits that Adidas have manufactured for this season. United players, Manchester United. There's more than one United in football, you pricks. Manchester United players have reportedly been unable to wear the official home socks from match day 2 onwards because they are too tight and restrictive to playing. Bruno Fernandes has been playing in a looser pair of replica socks, while some others have instead opted to wear plain black Adidas ones instead. Back to Onana. He's been unhappy with the fitting of the Adidas goalkeeper jersey, claiming it's too tight, so he's also been wearing just a replica kit from the club shop.
It's amazing. Like you said, this could only happen to modern day United. I've just, a bit of an aside, like everyone else, I've just watched the David Beckham documentary. Imagine this happening under Fergie's watch.
No.
Bloody hell. No, wouldn't happen at all.
That whiskey nose would fly off his face if it was happening now, that's for sure.
Yeah, of course it was. One little bit about the Beckham documentary, we'll get back onto the headlines later. I did love the fact that the way they played with when he went to Real Madrid, and they were just like, David Beckham was alone in Spain, no one to talk to. Straight away they show Steve McManaman. But anyway, let's continue.
That's great, Fletch. That's great, Fletch. I don't miss that on TNT's commentary this season. Anyway, great news for you in the game there, Jackie Orlando, because Bernardo Silva, your favourite footballer, he scored the 3rd goal for Manchester City on the day after some unselfish play from Erling, middle name Haaland.
I may dislike Bernardo Silva, but I've never questioned his ability. He's an unfortunately very good player, and I'm gutted that he didn't go to Saudi Arabia in the summer. What can I say? He's a very good player.
He is. He was arguably the man of the match, I thought, in a game where it just felt like a training game by and large, because Manchester City were just keeping the ball without really, taking the incentive from... What am I trying to say? They were just taking their time on the ball. They were just knocking it around the entire pitch however many times they wanted to, dragging Manchester United players out of position, and then when they saw a little gap, they went for it. It felt like a training ground exercise for me, attack versus defence.
It was a perfect time for City to be playing United, because United have clearly got no self-belief. The confidence has fallen. Obviously, City have had quite a bit of fun with United the past couple of seasons, but they just looked completely adrift in every way. And that's, again, it's not glossing over how good City are, but I think it's more of an indictment of how bad United have gone.
Yeah, and how bad Eric Ten Hag is doing in the eyes of some fans, because the boos that rang out around Old Trafford when Højlund was taken off for Garnacho in the 73rd minute, with Anthony in the background, the little rat. I think he's my least favourite Premier League player at the moment. Who does he think he is, sitting there shaking his head thinking, oh no, Gaffer, I should be coming on to make a difference in this game, when he's done absolutely nothing in over a year? Never to mention the allegations against his name as well, which makes him even worse. He's an awful footballer. He obviously came on towards the end of the game and he scythed down Doku, which was a disgusting tackle. And I think he should retrospectively be banned, because there was no intent to play the ball. He was just looking to break the legs of the player. He's absolutely wank. But Eric Ten Hag, less about Anthony, I just can't stand him. I can do a step over and then not score a goal. Why is he getting paid millions a week to do it? But yeah, what about Eric Ten Hag getting booed for those changes?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Højlund's the Old Trafford crowd have taken to him straight away, but if you're chasing a goal in a derby, you're not going to take him off, are you? Regardless of whether, I don't know if he's come out and said there was concerns about fitness or form or anything like that, you keep him on the pitch. The Man United fans, they've experienced a lot of the highest highs over the years, and like what gets hit with Liverpool fans get hit with at the moment, it breeds a kind of air of expectation and arrogance, and you just want to see everyone giving it all for the shirt. And like you said, this felt like Ten Hag throwing in the towel, and I'm not surprised he's starting to get booed. But I don't. Can Man United even afford to sack him?
I don't know how long his contract is. Let me quickly Google how long his deal is.
He's doing some Googling.
I am doing some Googling. I tell you what, I've just recently changed from Google Chrome to Brave, because of what Google Chrome take away from your good name without even knowing. And Brave's thing is awful. I've just typed in there Eric Ten Hag contract, and it's just the first thing that come up is about him signing a new contract at Ajax. And what's that? Why is it not about something more recent? Oh, God, I'm going to have to Google appointed and see when he was appointed manager, how long. There's going to be Man United fans watching this just tearing their hair out. He's been until June 2025 with his initial deal, with the option for a further year, which I assume would not be getting taken up, unless it already has done before we're sat here today.
Yeah, any Man United fans out there, obviously comment below what you think needs to change as well, because it's kind of sad, even though there's definitely no love lost for me and Man United, probably for yourself and Manchester United as well, but it's sad, isn't it?
I don't know. If I was Eric Ten Hag, I'd be licking my lips in the position I'm in, because people like Gary Neville like to distract the fact that he's maybe not pulling his weight as the manager and not, doing the business with the tools that he has. And the tools that he has, yes, they're not going to win the league, but they're well in as they were last season, finishing top 4. They're still capable of doing that, I think, with the additions they made in the summer. But it's fantastic how all the discourse is all about it needs to change up the top with the Glazers being removed from the club and whoever taken over before any sort of pressure comes on Eric Ten Hag. And I'm sat there thinking, we can do a lot better. I mean, Alan Pardew finished 5th with Mike Ashley in charge. Anything's possible.
Are you saying get Pards in at United?
Yes, I am. No, I'm not actually. I'm not. But I just think all the attention is elsewhere when maybe, obviously some attention needs to be on the structure of the football club and the Glazers up the top, because they aren't investing and they are taking money out the club and all that sort of stuff. Everyone knows the crack with that. But there's not enough scrutiny being put on Ten Hag for me at the minute, because he's not doing the business at all.
No. And I think part of that as well is all the distractions outside. We're not talking about, legal issues concerning certain players on the books. Just more the fact that all this kind of training ground and locker room unrest is getting leaked to the papers. They need to shut up shop and just try and sort the problems as best they can and then hope it translates to results.
Yeah, big time. Anyway, he'd probably keep his job, because who are they going to get? Who are they going to get? Could they get Unai Emery from Aston Villa? They won 3-1 against Luton over the Premier League weekend there to take it to 12 home league wins in a row. It was a hell of a finish from John McGinn after a lovely free kick from Douglas Luiz right across the edge of the 18-yard box. He's got wonderful vision. Great eyes.
Oh, lovely eyes. Yeah, you're saying 12 home league wins in a row for Villa. I'm sure I heard a stat. Is it every home game this season or something daft? They've scored at least 3 at Villa Park. They've just turned it into an absolute fortress.
They are good, aren't they?
Talking completely out my arse. Like I said, I'm coming off a cold, so I can blame it on fever. But John McGinn, like you said, absolutely lovely, well-worked goal. Villa, I thought at the beginning of the season, was stuttering, but they've just switched it. They've turned the corner and they're looking fantastic. They're looking absolutely brilliant. They
are. They were looking fantastic in pre-season in that American tournament. I think they won the thing in the end. Pipping Newcastle to the title, whatever that cup was called. But they played us and we were playing this. I think we started the game with like a weird 3-5-2 formation, which just didn't work, but they ripped us apart and went 2 or 3-0 up within 20 minutes. And I was thinking, they had obviously a very strong end to last season with Emery in charge. That was continuing this season. Then they go to St James on the opening day and get hoofed. But ever since then, they've been fantastic and they do look very, very good and looking likely to finish at least, I'd say, the top 6.
Yeah, definitely. Especially as we've seen, like, Chelsea have flattered to deceive. Who else would you say is in the conversation? I wouldn't say that you flattered to deceive, because my pre-season predictions were more glowing for Newcastle than yours were, as far as I remember. But do you think it is a straight shoot between you two to try and break back into that 6?
I think by the time we're sat here, maybe in 6 weeks' time, and we've had this next run of fixtures, Newcastle will be mid-table. Our squad is nowhere near strong enough to maintain Champions League and if we get through tonight against Man United, the Carabao Cup and the Premier League. We against Wolves at the weekend, it's not in the Premier League headlines of the weekend for me there, but we were absolutely spent after 60 minutes. All these injuries we've got, it's not going to be sustainable. We've got a very tough run of fixtures coming up now, starting with Arsenal at the weekend. That's not, obviously starting tonight against Man United, but that's a cup game. But in the league, we've got Arsenal at home at the weekend, then from there it gets a bit easier, but not much easier. And it's just the names we've got out and the players we've got available. Like, we had 2 goalkeepers on the bench at the weekend there against Wolves. We had just 3 or 4 left backs. Paul Dummett was there. What's his face? Lewis Hall from Chelsea was there, but he's still not getting a game for some reason. We had Tino Livramento, who's a right back. We had no centre forwards because Isak's injured now. Wilson's sort of, you never know if his hamstrings are going to go pink. So yeah, my prediction is Villa will be well ahead of Newcastle by the time the season's over. Well ahead.
That's Tweddell's headline right there. There we go. Get that in print.
But back to Aston Villa anyway. Diaby then scored the second goal with a lovely drive into the bottom corner after a knockdown from a cross at the far post. Then it is Luton Town icon Tom Lockyer, who puts the ball into his own net after a lovely ball in behind from Kamara, which was sort of played across. The goal there, I should explain. I do the EAFC 2-4 career mode with Luton on the channel, and in the first season Lockyer was the captain, and the game in real life before I started doing the career mode, the commentator had like a southern accent, so he was just saying like, oh, here comes Lockyer coming down the wing, and I was just like, coming down the wing, here's Lockyer stepping out from the back, that's a bit more realistic. And I was like, just the way he was saying yar at the end there just reminded me of, like, you know, the meme of like, oh yeah, so that's what I call him, Lockyer from now.
Was it Martin Tyler who used to like proper put an R on the end of Drogba as well? Drogba.
Andy Gray used to do that. I remember every time he would commentate on Barcelona, and he would always mention Thiago Motta. I was like, he made him sound like a Scottish international, not a Mexican international. Are you right there? He's dying.
I'll be alright. Nothing's killed me yet.
But yeah, we got a fantastic own goal in this Aston Villa game as well. It was from Martinez, the goalkeeper. More on him in the podcast a little bit later as well, after somehow Konza, Ezri Konza, as I know he called him Jeffrey Konza for some reason. Don't know where Jeffrey came from in my head. Maybe it was Jeffrey Dahmer, because he somehow headed the ball against his own crossbar, which then hit Martinez on the back of the neck, whatever it was, and went into his own goal. A fantastic own goal, the likes of which you don't see too often in the modern game. I was very happy to see that one. But Villa are now up to 5th, just 1 point off the top 4. And as I was saying there, is there maybe a case for Man United to go sniffing around Emery?
I can't see it happen. I can't see it happening. Only because obviously Emery had that run with Arsenal. He's already like, he's not like that manager who's searching for that big test with, you know, a top team. He's been there, you know, he got turned into a bit of a meme, and now he's doing such good work with Villa. If I was him, I'd stay there and just try and build it. He's got a good team. I don't think he's going to get raided like some other teams like Brighton, etc. have been raided. I think they seem a bit more stable, Villa. If I were him, I'd be trying to just kind of consolidate them and establish them as a top 6 team, because if he does go to United, he could fritter it all away, and such is the chaos of Manchester United that he could, you know, walk into the job and then be out of there by the end of the season. So I'd stay at Villa.
I'm in full agreement with you there, Jack Atkins. I don't think he should go either, but I just thought I'd put it out there because he is arguably the form manager in the league who isn't one of the top ones, obviously, like Ange and Pep and Mikel
and Jurgen.
Arsenal 5, Sheffield United 0. All the headlines, of course, made by Eddie Nketiah and his hat-trick. The goals got better and better and better as they went on and on and on. Arsenal closed the gap to 2 points on Spurs at the top of the table. Happy Arsenal! There was a lovely touch from Eddie Nketiah for his first goal past the defender after a nice ball in from Rice, where somehow he put it through the legs of the defender and then through the eye of another needle, which was behind the defender's leg. So he started 2 needles there in one pass. And somehow it got to Nketiah, and his touch before putting it in there, I've described it as some nice Nico Schlotterbecks, because he schlotted that ball into the back of the net there. He schlots it.
It's more poetic than my notes, where I've just got Nketiah first goal, so composed.
It was that as well. His second, I say his goals are getting better and better with the goals. That's just a complete lie. His first goal is probably the second best one. Then his second goal is probably the worst one after some poor goalkeeping from Premier League Wales, as Paolo Di Canio called him all those years ago when he played for Swindon Town. Premier League Wales has got to be stronger than he was in that moment there, and Eddie Nketiah was there just to twat the ball into an open top corner, basically. And then his third... Oh!
It was the textbook definition of the proverbial thunder bastard, wasn't it, Ross?
25 yards into the top corner. I can't believe he went for it. You just don't associate Eddie Nketiah with that sort of strike, but there he was doing it. I know it's against Sheffield United, but you can only beat who's in front of you. The fact he went for it, he's flying.
Yeah. 3 shots and 3 goals. I mean, you can't say fairer than that. I can't remember what was the stats after the game. Is he? Oh, I remember. I want to say he's 1 and 2 now in the league, because obviously those 3 goals have really helped him out. But like you say, if you're just going on pure statistics on the sheet, and you made up for him though, aren't you, as well? Because obviously he looked so happy. I like the fact that after the third one as well, the way that his teammates presented him with the ball as part of the celebration, it was just cute, wasn't it, Ross? It was very cute.
He is 1 and 2. He's got 5 in 10 so far in the league this season. I think he said after the game as well, his auntie passed away, some lads who was dedicating the goal to her with all his family there, which adds an extra nice layer to the niceness, doesn't it? But then, of course, later in the game, he ballsed it up a bit, because I think the commentator on Match of the Day noted that he could have become only the 3rd Arsenal player to score 4 goals in a single Premier League game, alongside Thierry Henry and Andrei Arshavin. But he
great game that, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good game that, yeah. It's 4! Ah.
Oh, not bad.
Lovely amber kit as well for Arsenal that day, wasn't it? But yeah, then he gave the penalty instead to Vieira, who won the penalty as well, I should say, and he put it away, therefore taking that potential record-breaking goal away from Eddie Nketiah. I mean, everyone wants to grow up and score 4 goals in a game. That's the be-all and end-all of football.
Yes, of course, but I don't. You don't want to see situations like where we've seen with other teams, like Man United. God, it just feels like we're punching at Man United, but we don't mean it. In the past few years, with the people fighting over the ball, no, I want to take the penalty. No, I want to. It doesn't matter as long as whoever takes it puts it in the back of the net. And like you said, Vieira won the pen as well. I've always been in the kind of mindset, if you've not got a nailed on penalty taker every time, whoever wins it should take it, really. That's just me being an old dreamer, isn't it?
Do you want to tell me how many Premier League games Eddie Nketiah has now played for Arsenal? Have a guess.
It's going to be something stupid, isn't it?
He made his debut in 2017.
2017?
Yeah. He's 24, you know. He's 25 in May.
Oh wow! Okay, in my head he was about 22. I think such is the youth of this Arsenal side. I'm going to say 80.
99, which is a lot more than I thought he did. 99 league games, 19 goals for Eddie Nketiah. But back to the game itself, Tomiyasu giving it a bit of the Ronaldos by stabbing it in just when it felt like Sheffield United had down tools like they do just about every game so far this season. They are now on 1 point from 10 games as Derby County start to smile.
I don't think anyone's surprised. We said before a ball had been kicked this season that we had no hopes of Sheffield United really doing anything this season. They're just a shambles. In my notes, I can't actually say out loud what I've written in my notes because we'll get demonetized by YouTube, but I've put the chef are a word that also begins with SH. So I'll let you figure that one out.
Schlotterbeck. Oh, that's a CH bollocks. Anyway, Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2 on Friday night is the other headline, I think, from the Premier League weekend there. Everything else was just by and large, as you would come to expect, I thought. Maybe apart from Diev going down to West Ham and getting that big win where they look very good, and Everton are on quite a run of form.
Yeah, obviously, something I'll come on to later. They've recently lost Bill Kenwright, and been hit with potential docking of points could be coming to them from the Premier League, which I think is a bit of a poo-housery concerning the timing of it all. But on the pitch, they seem like they're turning a corner. Having Calvert-Lewin back and, touch wood, fit seems to have really galvanised them, because we've said it a few, that Everton, if they just had a goal scorer, they'd look all right. And now that they've got, DCL, now that he's back, that they're not looking too bad. So, but we're not talking about the F, we're talking about Palace and Spurs, aren't we, Ross?
We are, yeah. It was a hell of a turn and finish from DCL, though. But, back to Palace and Spurs on Friday night. Ainge now has the most points collected from any Premier League manager in their first 10 league games in charge, with 26 after this win, which was kicked off in the second half, I think it was, with Joel Ward putting in an own goal after a hard and low from Jimmy Maddison. Then we had the goal. Well, is it the goal of the game? I thought it was the best move of the game, where we had Brennan Johnson and Jimmy Maddison working wonders down the left wing with headers and passes and all sorts going on. So Son could have a nice little Nico Schlotterbeck in the middle of the 6-yard box with not much of a Crystal Palace presence around him. And then Roy, in what was his 500 league game in charge of any club, was he had his chips well and truly pissed on, until somehow Jordan Ayew dried up a little bit of the piss that was on the chips to make them ever so slightly pissy and not full piss, with a wonderful volley. It was so sweet. I bet it made his bedtime cocoa taste a little bit more sweeter, Roy, because I'm really condescending towards the aged, apparently.
Yeah, so Roy there, washing down piss and chips with cocoa, of course. Watching this, though, I wasn't... You said, obviously, for Spurs' second, they absolutely carved them open. I wasn't too impressed with them. I thought that Palace exposed them at times and could have scored a few. But the mark of any form team, the mark of any team making a title challenge is riding your luck and grinding out a win by any means. So I can't fault the performance on that. But I do think they are riding the luck a bit. That's not taking anything from Ange Postecoglou. That's not taking anything from the team. But I do feel that there is a spanking coming their way from someone.
Let me add to the book of cliches I've got down by the side of me here. Winning when not playing well is the sign of champions. Up the book of cliches. But do you think, Jack, is that Spurs can win the Premier League?
I don't see why not. Again... It's the old cliche, isn't it, as well? If they're top at Christmas, then apart from only like twice ever, they'll win the league, and those 2 times were Liverpool. But if, like you said, you can only beat what's in front of you. They've collected 26 points from the opening 10 games. They're riding their luck. They are playing really free-flowing, attacking football. There seems to be unity on the pitch. There seems to be a weight lifted since they got rid of Harry Kane, which we didn't think we'd be saying. If things keep going their way, there's no saying that they can't. But it's Spurs at the end of the day, and there's a reason why the term Spursy is there. But for the present term, I don't see why not. Not on this form.
I think they'll finish third. That's where I'm nailing my flag to the mast.
Finish third.
I think it'll be City, Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool. That'll be my top 4, I think.
I'm still saying City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and then Spurs. I think I'd originally said Chelsea, didn't I? Would get that 4th spot, but I think they'll get top 4 definitely.
Yeah. We should mention Harry Kane's goal as well from the weekend there, just by hearing his name there. Just thought of him, Nico Schlotterbecking it from the halfway line, if it can be described as a Schlotterbeck from that far out. What a goal.
Well, yeah, Schlotterbecker from the halfway. Yeah, he's really taken to life in Germany well, hasn't he? Yeah. It's all that, Kartoffelsalat and currywurst fueling him to really up his game. Is that racist? Me calling out delicious German food? Who knows?
No, because it's only available properly in Germany. That's what I've learned. When you go to the Christmas markets over here in England, and you get a bratwurst or a currywurst, it's not the same as when you go to Germany and get the authentic one.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Are you going to be having some currywurst on your next venture over to Germany, Ross?
I am booked into an authentic German restaurant on the Monday night, and I simply cannot wait. There are as many sausages in there, and I can't wait to have them in and around my mouth. But Harry Kane at Bayern Munich has got 12 goals in 9 league games so far, so it's not going too bad for him. And I guess we should round out with a little bit from our own teams. It wasn't really the headline-grabbing weekend for either Newcastle or Wolves. The thing from the Newcastle game I want to just say on the camera, so it's there and recorded for history, generations of history to just sit back and marvel at how unbiased I am. That was not a penalty. Fabian Schär was not fouled. It should not have been a penalty. VAR needs to be scrapped until it eliminates the further possibilities of more human error on top of the initial human error. It can't be going on like it is at the moment. But, as they say, as I open the book of cliches once again down below me, they all even themselves out by the season's end, because the amount of times, especially last season, that Newcastle got hoofed by VAR, including a certain game at Anfield, it all evens itself out.
And we'll come on to VAR a little later from me. But yeah, definitely not a penalty. If I was a Wolves fan, I'd be feeling a bit aggrieved because, like you said, at times they were absolutely all over you. Lucky to come away with the point there.
I thought it was quite an even game. We had a few chances ourselves, but I do think Wolves shaved it. It wasn't as wide a yawning chasm as you're painting it there, you dick. But we are just. It was clear in the second half. We're clinging on. We haven't got the squad depth. It's not good enough, and I think that's going to be our downfall for this upcoming stretch of games, especially. Any thoughts on the Reds from the weekend there?
We're mustard. So, yeah, we're quite good. I love Darwin Núñez. As our friend Lewis House would put it, he is the epitome of a Barclaysman. He's just carnage, and I'm really enjoying watching us play at the moment.
That Messi did it in the Europa League on Thursday there, though. When he's gone around the goalkeeper and hit the post. Come on now.
It's the most beautiful miss you've ever seen. The footwork from him was incredible. And then some Liverpool fans are taking the piss online, spinning it, saying, Darwin Núñez is that good and that unselfish. He spotted the approach of Gravenberch in the reflection of the post and played it to him via the woodwork.
No, he didn't. He missed because he's an erratic boy.
He is an erratic boy, but he's great.
Yeah, I reckon I would have liked him if he played for Newcastle. He seems like one of those players that you only appreciate when you see him, like, you know, week on week, seeing what he does all minutes of the game, not just when he's on match of the day missing chances. He should probably score.
It's. I think we've again mentioned it before. Like when you go to a football party when you're 8 and you don't understand positions and marking, and everyone just runs at the ball. He plays like he's at an 8-year-old's birthday party, and it's wonderful to watch.
Right, we go from the ridiculous to the sublime, which was the week in football headline news that wasn't football matches. Martinez of Aston Villa has been named the 2023 Yashin Trophy winner at the Ballon d'Or ceremony for his heroics with Argentina during the 2022 World Cup. Of course, it's about more than just the one save, but that save from Wandel Muani in the final proven pivotal before their victory on penalties at the Lusail iconic stadium. I'm obviously reading out a thing here. Thoughts on him being the goalkeeper of the year? The best goalkeeper on earth, plays for Aston Villa, apparently.
He's not, but good for him. Put that. I mean, the own goal at the weekend just summed up Martinez to me. He's just, again, another top tier Barclaysman. He is a good throwback to the days of the lunatic goalkeeper, but yeah. I don't put much stock in awards ceremonies for any walk of life. Like people who watch the Oscars, who cares? It's millionaires getting patted on the back, and whatever wins the best picture at the Oscar usually isn't the best film of the year. I feel the same about the Ballon d'Or. It should be something for the players themselves that they want, but it's been blown out of all proportion in this social media age. God, I sound old. Martinez, he's a very good keeper, don't get me wrong, but he's not the best keeper on the planet. He's
had the most memorable year for a goalkeeper, I'd say, with the World Cup being in mind, because it is, it's still the pinnacle of football, winning the World Cup, no matter if you don't like international football or not. It's still the biggest thing you can do as a footballer, I'd say. So the fact that he played such a big role in that journey to the final and the final itself, I think it's fairly deserved. If that's the metric they're measuring it by, not just performances in the Barclays, but just as a whole, the international tournament is the biggest end all be all of football. But there we go. Erling Braut Haaland has been awarded the 2023 Gerd Müller Trophy for his incredible debut season with Manchester City. The Norwegian striker netted a blockbuster 36 Premier League goals during the 2022-2023 campaign, as his side won with the top flight title, as well as the Champions League and the FA Cup. He finished the campaign with 52 strikes in all competitions. I mean, I saw his dad laughing on social media because obviously Messi was given the main prize. We'll get onto it in a second, but it is remarkable how, obviously, I know the metric is there to measure things just off the World Cup and not much else. How could you with Messi after his last year with PSG and with Inter Miami? But it is a little bit funny that Haaland didn't win this year with 52 strikes in all competitions.
Yeah, I mean, I've said before that another reason why I'm not massively keen on the Ballon d'Or is it only seems to honour goal scorers as opposed to... You'll never get a defensive midfielder winning it, will you?
John McGinn. There
we go. John McGinn for Ballon d'Or. But yeah, you can't argue it was Haaland's because just the improvements he's made season upon season, and he not only did you say that the amount of goals he scored, not only the trophies he's won with City, the records he's shattered every single time he stepped on a pitch. But it is what it is. It was Messi's again.
It was over the ladies' game. Barcelona and Spain midfielder Aitana Bonmati. She won the 2023 Ballon d'Or Féminine, beating a host of England internationals to the award there. To be honest with you, I can't comment much on it, but it's a thing that happened, so congratulations to her.
Yeah. Again, it's... We don't follow the women's game as closely as we probably will in a season or two, but it is still growing.
It is still growing. Up the Bon Matty for winning that award. Then, of course, the headline of the evening was Leo Messi winning the 2023 Ballon d'Or. He's won it for an 8th time. If you ever find yourself at the Camp Nou in Barcelona, they've got the other 7, and I assume this one as well now in the museum at Barcelona. It's a lovely thing to go and stand and have your picture taken next to. Although, don't put your flash on. They're all in Perspex boxes. That'll reflect. Top tip there. Top tip there, everybody. Keep your flash off. So, Messi, he pipped the likes of Erling Haaland, as we said there. De Bruyne was in the mix for it for some reason, even though he's missed, it feels like, over half the season through injury. Kylian Mbappé was there, obviously, once again. It's all just because of the World Cup. He's done nothing at club level. I mean, it was fantastic to see him do that on his debut for Inter Miami, for example, but... It is for Inter Miami, where they do have terraces that are literally scaffolded and not a real stadium. So how much can you read into that really when you're on about the Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, and again, it's what we're saying about how, you can't really feel sorry for Mbappe because he's got more money than I've got beard hairs. But the fact that he's only the second person ever to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final, and not only didn't win the World Cup, but didn't win a Ballon d'Or either. But... I think the Ballon d'Or, it's a personal achievement. I'm not going to lose sleep over who wins or doesn't win it, but it will be interesting going forward now we're kind of out of the Messi and Ronaldo era, because it's boring, isn't it?
We're in the Braut Mbappé era now, baby. Who's going to win it next year? Find out when someone probably pays off someone at FIFA, and that's who gets awarded with the prize. Speaking of FIFA, Australia have confirmed that they will not be bidding to host the 2034 Men's World Cup, leaving Saudi Arabia as the sole nation left in the running to host the tournament. The deadline was set for Halloween. Woo! For any nations to submit to submit their bid to host the 23 tournament, with Saudi Arabia declaring their intentions back on the 9th of October by stating they were extremely committed to presenting the most competitive bid possible that will also help unite the world through football. Even them themselves are saying, we do the sports washing. Very nice. Saudi Arabia progressed their bid. FIFA invited bids from countries in Asia and Oceania as part of their bid. Well, to take the World Cup over there for the first time since 2002, basically. The only interested nation was Australia, but they have now since decided against entering the running. There's been all sorts of images going around social media of Gianni Infantino, the rat, the bald rat, sitting next to all these powerful people in football, assumably, well, allegedly, I should say, this is just my personal opinion, not based on any sort of fact whatsoever, accepting money for certain privileges like hosting World Cups. I'm not suggesting that's happened now, but it probably has.
Yeah, again, but based on own opinions, based on nothing that we've seen, based on nothing that we've heard, just based on a gut reaction, which is nothing that we are saying in, print or as a statement of any beliefs of Hold and Give, its parent channel or whatever. FIFA aren't even trying to hide their corruption anymore, are they? And on one hand, you've got to, take your hat off to them for being so brazen, but for God's sake, it's going to be another Winter World Cup, which, will be news to your ears, but not to mine, because I like a Summer World Cup. But,
I'd like to retract my earlier statements about the Winter World Cup. It wasn't all it was cracked up to be.
No.
The romance of the situation captivated me a bit too much. I think, the crackling fires, the warm cider on the bar, the winter beers, which are always fantastic anyway, the Christmas decorations up, the crap tree in the corner. But it wasn't as good as it was, because the pub gets too full. At least when you're outside watching on a big screen, you've got room to disperse. Yes, sometimes you might not get a seat, but that's part of the game. You have to go there very early to get a seat. But when you're all in a pub, it's just too hot.
And it was horrible. It was horrible last year because first game fell on my birthday. So I was out and about for my birthday midweek thinking, everywhere will be quite quiet, it'll be quite nice. But no, there was just students walking around going, England, wearing shorts at the end of November. And I was like, I just want to have a bit of cake. But here we are. But well done, Saudi Arabia. I'm sure your bid will go through successfully.
Oh, it will do, yeah. Some horrible news now. It's the latest on Luis Diaz's parents now, because Colombian police have confirmed they are searching a forest in a bid to find Luis Diaz's father, who was recently abducted. Both of Diaz's parents were kidnapped over the weekend, with national authorities confirming that the abduction occurred when the pair were stopped by gunmen on motorbikes near the border with Venezuela. Diaz's mother, I can't pronounce her first name, Kilanis, one of the two, was rescued over the weekend. However, the 26-year-old father is still missing. The Colombian army have been drafted in an aid to search for Diaz's father, a move that was confirmed by the Colombian Attorney General's office. I don't even know what you say about that, but it's news you never expect to hear.
Yeah, it's unprecedented, isn't it? Obviously, he's not been up for selection for the Liverpool game at the weekend. He won't be for the cup game tonight. Diogo Jota held up his shirt in, tribute to him after our first at the weekend. But I don't know what you can say. You can't even begin to imagine what that feels like. It's such a foreign concept to us, sitting in the comfort of our, of our homes right now. But let's hope there's a positive outcome to all this.
Yeah, big time. What will not have a positive outcome is the latest investigations into certain things going on in football clubs, namely Chelsea this time, because the transfers of both Samuel Eto'o and Willian to Chelsea in 2013 has now been formed part of a Premier League investigation into potential financial breaches. A new report has revealed this week, Jack Atkins. The duo arrived from Stamford Bridge, obviously a decade ago now, from the now defunct club Angie Makakakakakaka. Eto'o on a free transfer and Willian for around £30 million. The Premier League investigation into payments to secretive offshore companies while under the ownership of Roman Abramovich was first reported by The Times in August, weeks after Chelsea agreed to pay an £8.6 million fine relating to incomplete accounting under the ownership of the Russian. And now The Times' latest report says the financial records suggest the payments were made to, and I quote, Russian entities outside of the agreed transfer fees, with the new issues uncovered during the due diligence process that eventually saw Todd Bowley's Clear Lake Capital Consortium take control of the club. The alleged payments to offshore companies are understood to have taken place between 2012 and 2019, which is obviously before the new regime took over. I mean, we've got Manchester City going on, bubbling away in the background, 115 counts. If you believe the reports of last week there, Everton have breached it once, and they're going to get whizzle-wazzle with a 12-point fine, even though Manchester City's 115 are still bubbling away in the background. And now Chelsea, will they be acted upon before Manchester City gets acted upon? What's going on?
I don't think they'll do anything to Chelsea like they're probably not going to do anything to City. Because, God, I'm so defeatist today, aren't I? if they are found to be in serious breaches, then obviously they should be punished. Like I was saying before with Everton, if Everton have found to have breached certain rules, then they should be punished. But it needs to be an economy of scale. You can't just say, "Oh, City, you've got what was it, 100 and however many." 115. Oh, we'll wait and see if we'll slap you on the wrist. Everton, you've got one potential 12-point deduction into a lower league, more than likely, and you've got mounting financial pressure. And we thought we'd announce this the week that your chairman died. As for Chelsea, but part of me feels a bit sorry for Todd Bowley that this didn't even happen under his watch, and he's like, I've already spaffed hundreds of millions on this team, and now they're costing me even more. But if they broke the rules, they need to be punished.
Yeah, I want these investigations to go further back. There's no way when Abramovich took over, he wasn't breaking a few rules here and there to get your Crespos and your Makelele's in back then. Allegedly.
Allegedly, based on nothing at all, I reckon he's definitely had a few people killed.
I didn't think we were going that balls deep, but there we go. The sooner we move on, the better. The Ligue 1 game between Marseille and Lyon, did you see this over the weekend? Scheduled for Sunday night was postponed after the visiting team's bus was attacked, leaving manager Fabio Grosso, who of course scored the winning World Cup penalty in 2006. That's the same guy, isn't it? Was it Grosso who scored the winner, the clincher? I think it was. I might be talking bollocks there. He was left with a horrible facial injury. Leon's bus was damaged extensively as stones were thrown at the vehicle while it was en route to the Stade Orange Velodrome. Videos circulated on social media show gaping holes in the windows while Grosso has been pictured sporting... Well, his face was busted open. Like a wrestler from Texas in 1985, so he did. The game was due to kick off at 7:45 GMT back then, but the postponement was made by officials a few minutes before that. The Lyon owner, John Texter, as I'm trying to hold in a sneeze in a way where I'm just rubbing my nose for audio listeners. Oh, let's rub the nose. Oh, yeah. The sneeze has disappeared. But Lyon owner, John Texter, was insisting that his team still wanted to play the game, telling Prime Video Sport, no, we didn't ask to cancel the match. Very quickly after it happened, we had a team meeting. Our team decided that they would play. They wanted to play. They were ready to play. I'm very proud of the captain wanting to do that. The decision was made independently of us. We wanted to play football. We're angry.
No, this one completely passed me by. I'll have to have a look at the images afterwards, but it sounds absolutely horrific.
Oh, it was a big busted open moment. Like, he was completely whizzle-wazzled. But I don't think it's the fact that the team wanted to play, even though this had happened to their manager, coupled with the fact that Lyon's manager, Fabio Grosso, has taken charge of 4 games. He's won none, drawn 1, and lost 3. Conceding 2 goals a game and scoring 1 goal a game on average, and the fact they wanted to play when he wasn't going to be there, that doesn't scream to me a team that's fully behind the manager.
I don't know though, because footballers, like most sports people, are an odd breed. Perhaps they thought, this is an omen, this is a sign. The blood of our manager, we'll turn that to the blood of sporting victory. I don't know. They were probably fired up, adrenaline pumping, wanting to do one for the manager, wanting to get one for the gaffer, but on the other hand, yeah, I can see your point of them being like, sod him, he's crap and now he's bleeding.
They would have said it exactly like that with the accent and everything. Anyway, good news to end the news section on this week. FIFA have confirmed that disgraced former RFEF president Luis Rubiales has been banned from all football-related activities for 3 years. Rubiales eventually resigned from his role as president in early September after planting a non-consensual kiss on Spain striker Jenny Hermoso in the aftermath of the Women's World Cup final. Their triumph, obviously. Hermoso filed a legal complaint against Rubiales for the kiss, as well as his attempts to coerce the World Cup winner into making a statement in order to alleviate the pressure on him, which was a detail that sort of passed me by. He's even more of a poo head, to keep things PG on the podcast, than I thought he was. The former president has since appeared in court in Madrid to respond to allegations of sexual assault and coercion levied at him, along with action being taken against him in court. Rubiales has also been under investigation by the FIFA Disciplinary Committee, who has now confirmed a 3-year ban from all footballers due to his breach of Article 13 of FIFA's disciplinary code. Up the Article 13.
Glad to see he's been banned. Does the report say if his mum still cry arsing about it as well?
Oh, probably. What's it with these mothers getting involved in these football people's old deals? But yeah, I can't believe it went on as long as it did. But I guess that speaks more to how things are maybe run with the Spanish FA or the RFEF and also parts of FIFA as well. But at least we got there in the end.
Yeah, because it seemed open and shut, didn't it? To everyone watching who didn't have a vested interest in the actual corridors of power within world football. We're just like, oh, that's not on. Most, as called it out, get rid of him. But now, like you said, rumbled on points there that were kind of swept under the rug during the reporting of it as well. Not swept under the rug, but didn't come as much to light. I'm going to sneeze. Continue.
Go on, get it out. Go on. That was the end of the football news week, but we'll wait for the sneeze with bated breath. Go on. 5, 4,
no, it's gone.
3. It's gone. Wonderful.
I haven't stopped today. Like I've felt all right these last few days. Now Sean's got my cold, and then today, seemingly my body said, "You're not letting her be iller than you." I have a sneezing fit this morning. I must have sneezed about 30 times to the point where I was just swearing at myself, telling myself to stop it.
Could you say that was your highlight of the week, Jack Atkins?
No, but I do have a highlight for you if you want, Ross.
Please tell me, Jack Atkins.
That was disgusting. I hated that. So, highlight of the week for me, it was the tributes to Bobby Charlton and Bill Kenwright over the weekend. Again, staunch Liverpool fan, but both men were honoured before Liverpool vs Forest at Anfield. Huge round of applause for a Man United legend and, Everton through and through, Bill Kenwright. But especially with the latter Kenwright, as much as he was, an Everton figurehead for many, many years, he was just a proud Liverpoolian and did a lot for the city and spoke out a lot. And his performance as chairman, this isn't the time to be having this conversation, but he seemed like an all right fella. And it was just things like this, as much as you don't want to see, obviously, legends of the game and figures of the game pass away. It is nice that football fans can put aside rivalries and just one last round of applause for Bill Kenwright and obviously the great Sir Bobby Charlton.
Aye. I was saying last week, I hope that the recent years of his tenureship at Everton didn't sort of blight his outlook, his legacy at Everton too much, because I was saying last week, I always associated Everton growing up. Obviously, I grew up a child of the 90s, them being, dancing with relegation most seasons. Then when he came in 1999, I know he wasn't spending lavish amounts of money, but it always felt like he spent what he could to, give David Moyes especially the best chance he could to be successful. The way those two turned it around for Everton, for that period of time where they were finishing, fourth 1 year, but largely fifth, 6th, 7th, that sort of area. I thought that, looking back between the 90s and where they are now especially, he did very, very well. So I hope that the stuff with Farhad Mashiri getting involved doesn't sort of tarnish his legacy too much.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a bit of a figure of fun for Liverpool fans. Obviously, we all like to joke about where the Arteta money is and where the undies money is as well. Do you remember that one?
No.
When one season, you remember the old 90s footy shorts used to have netting inside? Yeah. But one season, the netting was gone from inside the Everton shorts, and someone went on Twitter and just put, "Where's the undies money, Bill? Where's the money that we're saving on all these undies?" So, but like I said, a figure of fun at times, especially while Liverpool have had a better few years on the pitch than Everton. But it's a warm rivalry most of the time, Liverpool versus Everton. So. Yeah, he seemed like a decent fella, Bill Kenwright.
Sorry, I let out a terrible yawn at the wrong time there. But yeah, that has been nice to see the tributes pouring out over the past week or so. Up the Charlton, up the Bill Kenwright. My highlight of the week is a little bit more current because I've said the wrong turn of phrase there. What a tit I am. Anyway, my highlight of the week was not Jude Bellingham seeing off the likes of Camavinga and Pedri and Gavi and Musiala to get the Copper Trophy at the Ballon d'Or this week, the Young Player of the Year, basically. But it was Jude Bellingham, who is 20 years of age, remember. He's gone to Spain and he had a little game last weekend known as El Clasico. Not only has the lad twatted one in from 25 yards, which some people might say Ter Stegen could have done a bit better with. He got a hand too, but I think it was a lovely strike. A very quick snap shot. Not a Schlotterbeck, it was a snapshot. Bang! Quick one. And then he obviously got the poacher's goal at the very end there to clinch the win, to make it, and I'm not making this up, 10 goals in 10 league games so far for Real Madrid. For someone, I know he's playing a sort of calm come second striker role, or maybe centre forward you put it on FIFA if you want to talk in those sort of terms, but he's still sort of an attacking midfielder. So the stuff he's doing, you think it can't get any more ridiculous than last weekend comes along.
He's a very good footballer, isn't he?
Yeah.
What more is left to be said about him? Yeah, swine. But he's absolutely flourishing there. And what I always forget how old he is. Is he 20 yet? Or is he still
20? Yeah.
Yeah. So if he stays injury free and playing a good game, and obviously as we've seen growing up, as the retirement age of footballers gets later and later, we could have Jude Bellingham potentially for another 20 years, and he's not even at his peak yet. It's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, I hope it's not a case where, we were speaking about Rooney and Aiden Hazard on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, saying they played so much so young that by the time they got to 26, 27, 28, 29, whatever, the drop-off was noticeable just because their bodies couldn't hack it anymore. So hopefully, I think that's the one asterisk maybe next to Bellingham's name, the fact he is only 20 years of age now. He's not 21 until the 29th of June. Is Jude Victor William Bellingham.
Oh, that's a strong name.
It's a very strong name. So yeah, hopefully the fact he's playing this much football now and doing what he's doing, he might, from the team's perspectives that he's playing for, if he's doing the goods, you're not going to not play him, are you? Because thinking, in 6 or 7 years' time, you might be a little bit tired.
Yeah, exactly. If you've got, especially in that ridiculous Real Madrid midfield, and while La Liga's not as strong across the board as it has been in previous years, just run them into the ground and win everything, basically.
Aye. But looking at his England caps there, he's 20 and a half, basically, and he's got 27 caps already. He's going to break the record, isn't he? Surely.
Yeah, you'd think. 20 and a half. What was I doing at 20 and a half? Just being a horrible little scrotum, I think I was. Yeah,
I can't really talk about what I was doing at that age on the podcast. Now we move on to Darren England and Daniel Cook Memorial Twat of the Week. I'll go first for this segment. I'm going to go for this iShow Speed fella, who I'm not entirely sure what he is. I see him on social media from time to time just saying footballers' names wrong, because I don't know if it's a bit or if he generally doesn't know, but it's funny to watch anyway. I quite enjoy that. But this week he was at the Ballon d'Or Awards. Somehow they let him in. I'm not entirely sure why. But the reason he is my Darren England and Daniel Cook Memorial Twat of the Week for this week, Wednesday, November the 1st, is because when he was Messi was being awarded with the award, and in the build-up to it, he's going like, oh, please be Ronaldo, please be Ronaldo. And then when it's announced as Messi, which everyone knew this before the award ceremony anyway. I think this is me showing my age and not getting what the kids get in this day and age, all the cool streamers and whatnot. But the way he's like, what? Bro, no, I can't believe it. Then he starts barking like a dog. He inadvertently starts the standing ovation because he sort of stand-ups going like, well, no, I can't believe it. And then people all around him start standing up and going, yes, well done, Lionel, yes, well done. But I hate vloggers anyway, which it's going to sound weird because obviously I'm one of those YouTube C words as a day job anyway. But the ones that try to make everything all about themselves all the time when they're walking around with their selfie sticks and whatnot. That breed especially, I bloody hate them. That breed of YouTuber. You got your bath bomb ones over here, cannot stand them. Your selfie stick vloggers, cannot stand them either. I think vlogging's a cancer on this content creating wheel that we know as life today. But the way he it made me angry, the fact that he was in the room for such, surrounded by people like he was, all the great players in the world currently. And just the fact he tried to do that when Messi was getting his award. I'm not Messi's the best player of all time, but I'm not like Gary Lineker where I want to suck Messi off. But I thought it was just like... Just wait until after the show's over before you do some bollocks like that, you tosser.
Yeah, I didn't even know who this clown was, and you sent it to me, and I got angry. I was like, who do you think you are, you absolute nobody? It's a black tie event. And this goes to me saying, like, what I think about... I know we don't like to mention it too much on this channel, but like with, say, the WWE Hall of Fame, this should not be This should be an event for the players. This should be an event for the staff, the coaches, etc. Behind closed doors with some reporters to tell what happened. This shouldn't be some kind of glitzy, let's see who we can get here kind of thing. No, it's for them. It's not for us. And yeah, bell end. One, if this is a bit him saying, I hope Ronaldo gets it. Why would Ronaldo get it for a start? Two, it's symptomatic of these weird social media gimps who support players and not teams. And three, just stop modern football.
I liked how you called him a nobody. He's got 21.3 million subscribers on YouTube. That was the background noise you just heard there, by the way. It was one of his videos playing by mistake. But just to let you know who he is, he's called Darren Jason Watkins Jr., born on the 21st of January 2005. He's a YouTuber, a rapper, a streamer. He's best known for his variety live streams in which he primarily plays video games, including FIFA, Fortnite, Minecraft, and Roblox.
There's too many geeks in this world.
He's a rapper. You can't be a geek and a rapper, can you?
Yeah, very much so. Most of the rappers I like are geeks, to be fair. Still.
I saw Daniel Radcliffe doing that alphabet song thing. It was on Jimmy Fallon or something like that. It's on YouTube. We must have seen the clip.
Yeah, he's doing, isn't he doing mathematics by Mos Def?
Potentially, yes. But yeah, he's a nerdy rapper as well. Daniel Radcliffe there. Who's your twat of the week, Jarkins?
My Darren England and Daniel Cook memorial twat of the week is Vincent Kompany. Oh, Vincent. Oh, cry me a river, you talented, seemingly very nice man. His remarks on VAR have bitten him right in the arse, haven't they? It's almost like, Vincent, these people just make mistakes. You've got to swallow it and move on, mate. But obviously, we saw it at the weekend. A VAR decision that took far too long at the end of Bournemouth and Burnley. Was it 5 minutes, was it, to decide if something was deemed as offside or not, and they drew the lines in the wrong places and that. But he seemed more aggrieved at the fact that there was the call for a potential handball at the end that just wasn't looked at as the referees wanted to wrap it up. And he was there in his post-match comments just saying like, I don't know what VAR is doing. And this was a few weeks after. Like, again, this is a bit of schadenfreude. I'm not trying to bring it back around to Liverpool, but as I was saying at the time, when there is a massive thing like VAR not being fit for purpose, everyone needs to come together and use their platform to call it out. And him saying, it's just people making mistakes, and now it's bit him on the arse. No sympathy for you, mate. So shut your mouth and use your platform to demand change and a tightening of standards, you twat. I still really respect you as a player, and I do still think you're a very nice guy, but, shut up.
Fair enough. What goes around comes around, eh? That has really bit more on the arse, though.
It really has. Yeah. As soon as it was, as it happened, I went on Twitter, and it was, I'll admit, on social media, Liverpool fans, we can be an absolute shower of gob, you know what, and every news source that was posting it was just littered with Liverpool fans in the comments saying, it's all right, Vincent, it doesn't matter though, does it, mate? Just one of that. But we need, it's the tribalistic nature of football fans that everyone's not going to get on the same page for something like this, because it's kind of funny, isn't it, at times? But if we want VAR to either be abolished or scrapped in its current form or changed, then we've all got to kind of agree that it's crap.
Yeah, I hope it goes away. I really do. I hope it goes away until, as I said earlier, it's not just several more layers of potential human error, until it's actual technology that brings everything beyond any shadow of any doubt. Get rid of the bollocks. I'm sick of speaking about it. Anyway, we move on to Brighton. Sorry, to give it its full title. Welcome to Brighton and Hove Albion fullback Purvis Estepinian. What are you talking about? This is, of course, the segment where we take a hot take from a viewer and either pull it apart or agree with it. This week, I can sense which way it could go. This comes to us from Scott Spencer. Here we go, Scott. He says, my Purvis Estepinian is that I don't think Phil Foden is as good as he is hyped up to be, and he's only reached the heights because City are so good themselves. Because I see him do nothing for England. When you compare him to Saka or Martinelli, they are much more involved. Your thoughts?
I'm in the middle on this one. I can see the line of thinking. I don't think it's one of those shouts that's worthy of like a public flogging. But to to open up the book of football and cliches, he passes the eyeball test, Phil Foden. You can see that he's a very good player. We've said many times he still hasn't seemingly established a permanent place for himself in the City side. And yes, he can overshadowed sometimes by some of the absolute embarrassment of riches around him. But I think most Premier League teams, Phil Foden walks into him. But at the same time, you can argue he has been overhyped to a degree, but he's a fantastic. I'm on the fence on this one. I can't go either side of this because I can see both sides of the argument. For me, though, I do think Phil Foden is a special talent.
I think Scott Spencer is full of bollocks. Michael bollocks, because bringing the England thing into it is nonsensical because of the manager we've got in charge of England. The manager we've got in Gareth Southgate is not set up for players like Phil Foden to flourish. I know that players like Rashford have their moments. Obviously, Harry Kane, his goal scoring record's fantastic. But for exciting, flair players like Foden, who flourish when their team's in possession for long periods of time, when their teams are on the front foot, that is not how Gareth Southgate sets up England. We are very much a back foot team, go on the counter, where everything's just about get forward and go, by and large. When we come up against the teams where we aren't just, spaffing them 6 and 7-0 or whatever in qualification games. So I think the England argument there is nonsensical, and I think maybe compared it to Martinelli isn't fair because Martinelli's very much a different player for me. I think Phil Foden is a generational talent. I think if he was having a better manager for England who was more suited, more like what Pep does with Man City, obviously, but without being Pep somehow, if that person even exists out there in the world today, I think your perversest opinion here would not be your opinion at all.
But Ross, how Gareth Southgate going to get Jordan Henderson in the side? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, Jargons, but I really do just hope Jordan Henderson eventually, when the time's right, when the time is right for Jordan Henderson to spread his message, I hope he's successful in spreading it, because we're now sat here in November and he still hasn't spread his message. I know he's played in front of 900 people, which is what people dream of, Boreham Wood in the conference have an average attendance of 1,400. Yeah, El Atti, in the Saudi Pro League have their average attendance of 800 or 900, something like that. But the fact that Henderson, he's just struggling. He's building up for that perfect moment to spread his message, which is why he went over to Saudi Arabia. I hope when that time comes, he really knocks it out the park. I'm really willing for Jordan Henderson to do good things over there. Just admit you went for the money, you clown.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Ross.
But I just think Phil Foden's a wonderful player. I think if you stick Phil Foden in most teams, I think he shines above everybody else in the team, who isn't Manchester City, obviously. Yeah.
I think that has been part of why I can kind of understand that line of thinking. We said the amount of players in City is starting 11 week in, week out, where Foden can't guarantee that he's one of the first names on the team sheet. But like you said, you put him in most other teams. And he's a starter every week. He is very, very good. But I do think the media has overhyped him a little bit. I was expecting him to be a case of the Jack Wilsheres before he really established himself, but he's done it for a few seasons now, hasn't he? So
yeah. Some might have called Phil Foden once upon a time a wunderkind, which leads us on nicely to our next segment, Jackie Orlando's What Happened to That Wunderkind? Please, Jack, who is it this week?
Yeah. Well, Ross, my good friend, we didn't rehearse that because we never rehearse anything for this. It's not as disheartening a tale of failed potential this week, because we are looking at Ibrahim Afellay.
Sorry.
Caught me really off guard though with that the wide-eyed manic look in your face.
I've just not thought about him for years. I forgot he was a thing.
Yeah, he's one of them, isn't he? So, for those not in the know, Dutch attacking midfielder, could also play on the wing. Born in April 1986, so he is one of the few people on this planet older than myself. So, he joined PSV Eindhoven age 10, eventually made a senior debut age 17 in a KNVB Cup game against NAC Breda in February 2004, and would sign a deal that would run until 2007. A broken toe would, kind of like be a bit of a bump in the road, and he'd only managed 9 games in the 04-05 season. But he did manage 2 goals and an assist in a 4-2 win over Feyenoord and a sub-appearance in the KNVB Cup final win over Willem II. But it's in the 05-06 season, he became a regular for PSV, played in the midfield 3 with Timmy Simons and Philip Cocu. 34 appearances, 2 goals, all competitions, and the Eredivisie title. Next season, 34-6, another league title. 07-08 season, 33-2, and another league win. Contract extension, keeping him until 2011. Everything is looking absolutely mustard. The 08-09 season, and he started banging them in with 13-28 in the league. But a bit of an injury in April forced him to miss the run-in. PSV 4th. 09-10 became vice-captain, eventually took the armband at the end of the season. But as the 2010-2011 season started, he's now 24, captain of PSV. He's won the league 3 or 4 times, and he revealed he would not be signing a new deal with PSV. PSV were kind of backed into a corner as the winter break came. They accepted a bid of just €3 million from Barcelona, and he signed a 4.5-year deal for them. So he moves to Barcelona, and this is, we're talking here, which season is this? 2010-2011 Barcelona. What a team to sign for. With and O'Morson talking about, the greatest sides of all time, and that 2010-2011 Barca side's up there. So he goes into that team, 28 appearances and 2 goals in all competitions, wins La Liga. He gets the Champions League. He puts one on a plate for Messi in the semi-final, comes on the 90th minute in the final against United. It's all looking good, and then this is where he becomes an entrant into the Wunderkind series. So he gets a hamstring injury in pre-season going into the 11-12 season. Then he gets an ACL injury in September 2011 that would require surgery, and he was out for 7 months and only managed 5 appearances. Come to the 2012-2013 series, and Tito Vieira had taken over from Pep Guardiola, and he told Afellay, he was like, look, you're going to find playing time plentiful this season. So a loan move was sorted to Schalke. So 12-13 season, he's a Schalke, 15 appearances and 4 goals, then a muscle injury in November, then a further injury in January during a friendly. He saw his arse with Schalke's medical setup, so returned to Holland, and then went back to Barca in May for early training. And then he was trying to get back to fitness, went back early, was trying to get all good. And then in August, before the 13-14 season, another muscle injury, and he went under the knife, and he'd make one more Barcelona appearance. So prior to the 14-15 season, he'd accept a loan move to Olympiacos, scored on his debut, 29 appearances, 6 goals in all competitions, won the league. It's all seeming good. End of the season, released by Barcelona and signed for Stoke. So I'd completely forgotten that he played for Stoke. It's just one of those occurrences that had just pinged out of my head. And he was there for years as well.
Yeah.
But what happened to Ibrahim Afellay at Stoke, Ross? So 15-16 season, 36 appearances, 3 goals, all competitions. Stoke finished 9th. And then he did his knee again in April 2016, more surgery and 5 months out. When he comes back, he's unable to nail down a spot in Mark Hughes' side. Happy birthday, Mark Hughes.
Leslie.
Big Les Hughes. Ooh, he sounds like he drives a milk float, doesn't he? 16-17 season, he 13 appearances. Season after, just 6 because he fell out spectacularly with Paul Lambert, who'd taken over. And he was ordered to stay away from the club.
Could you
imagine that as a fight on the training pitch?
Could you imagine being managed by Pep for a little bit, and then Tito, and then finding yourself eventually with Paul Lambert?
No wonder he fell out. I wonder if he played the big I am saying, I was part of Pep Guardiola's Barcelona side. But he was ordered to stay away from the club, and then he had another major knee injury in the 2018-2019 season, and his contract was terminated in January 2019. He'd returned to PSV in summer 2019, but would make just 4 appearances in the 2019-2020 season, and then retired in January 2021, saying, "What I wanted has not happened, but I am at peace with it. You know that this moment will come sooner or later. It's fine like this. And unlike other players we've looked at, it's not a bad career to look back on. You know, he won loads. He played in the top leagues, 53 caps and 7 goals for the Netherlands. He's part of the 2010 World Cup and 2012 Euros squads. Like you said, part of that all-conquering Barcelona side, although, you know, just a squad player, really. Won everything with PSV, won the Greek League with Olympiacos, played in the Premier League with Stoke. But I went on Transfermarkt and had like a proper breakdown of his injury record. So before Barcelona, he'd only missed 2 competitive fixtures for his time with PSV. He then, you know, obviously had that first muscle strain and he missed 5 games. And then after his ACL injury and recurring injuries after that, he'd miss 184 games in total across his career. So it's just, there's weird kind of parallels to Michael Owen, I'd like to say here. Not in the fact that they both ended up at Stoke, but just the fact that after that major injury, they just weren't the same player. They couldn't reach the heights they were. They still had a bit of name value, so could go from team to team, but just one bad injury just derailed his career. But not as sad a tale for Ibrahim Afellay.
Yeah, I didn't realise he started so early as 2004 at PSV. Like, because you look at his, he's 37 now. And what I was mentioning earlier about Bellingham, the hope is the fact that Bellingham's played so much football now, it doesn't eventually bugger him down the line, because I think that's what's happened here with Afellay.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, you see it with some players, you know, in the dreaded growing pains. Like Steven Gerrard had it earlier in his Liverpool career where he'd missed loads of time out because he was still growing and adapting and adjusting. And once he kind of got it out of his system, he was fine. But obviously an ACL injury like this, you're not going to come back the same player and you're just going to be hoping that you can come back at all. So that's why we were saying before about Bellingham. If he can stay fit and injury free, he could be an absolute all-timer.
Aye, because I'm just looking at the Stoke transfer window for the 15-16 season. I guess this is both transfer windows in that season. The standout names: Hosselu arrives from Hanover for 5.75 million. Shea Given arrives from Aston Villa on a free. Aston Villa on a free. Glenn Johnson arrives from Liverpool on a free. So that's when he joined Stoke. Afellay is on there. Sergio Molina arrives from Real Madrid. Never heard of him. Xherdan Shaqiri arrives from Inter Milan for 12 million. And the be-all and end-all, the Bobby Dazzler of the entire 2 transfer windows. Do you remember Janelli Mbula, who they spunked 18 million pounds on? It was the January 2016 window, right at the end. I remember he was one of the deadline day signings, and they're like, "Oh, can they get him done?" I don't know why that was my Jim White there, but there we go. Got my yellow tie on, speaking like Jim White apparently. But yeah, it went right down to the wire if memory serves. And 18.3 million wielded. Let me have a quick look. 26 appearances over 4 years and 2 goals for Stoke.
Ooh, money well spent. I was going to say the rest of those incoming sound quite nice. Obviously, Xherdan Shaqiri seemed like a weird one at the time, but ended up doing all right for Stoke. You said Glenn Johnson signed. I'll let you know that was John Glenson, because Liverpool signed Glenn Johnson and then he just went completely crap at one point. And we like to say it was his twin brother John Glenson who's taken his place.
But Stoke that season finished 9th, 51 points. Could you imagine that now? Under Leslie Hughes' football playing red and whites. Because that was the big thing, wasn't it, when Mark Hughes took over Stoke? It was like, oh, we're done with the Pulis days of long throw-ins and long balls. This is now Leslie Hughes' time to play football on the grass.
That was a lovely Welsh accent as well there, Ross.
Aye, but there we go. What a shame for Afellay. Yeah, it just seems like injuries was the big reason that his career didn't get to where it probably might have done at one point. Anyway, we move on now to the Roberto Mailbaggio. Please get yours submitted to rossandholdinggive.com. We kick things off. Hello, charming chaps. You answered my mailbag a month ago about comparing football players and teams to NBA players and teams. I've heard the Hold the Winky story from Ross, involving, of course, Paul Gascoigne and Sir Leslie Ferdinand, but I want more stories to look up, so I'm back with comparisons comparisons, but this time about weird or stupid stories and players. I'm not looking for someone who's done the same exact thing, but someone who has done something equally as stupid. So we're kicking things off with Palacio Borges, an American football player who accidentally shot himself at a nightclub and went to prison for it.
The one that came to mind for me is that, again, it's not quite the same, but the first one that came to mind was when Mario Balotelli set fireworks off inside his own house and set his roof on fire.
The exact same thing popped in my head straight away, because I can't think of a footballer with a firearm. Can you?
Probably someone we might mention in a few minutes, but no kind of live fire exercises, no. But Balotelli, when he was during his Man City madness pomp, yeah, he was a pure Barclaysman.
Yeah, in his own bathroom setting off fireworks for some reason. That was the story there. Paul Pierce, who faked an injury to be wheelchaired from the NBA court during the game so people wouldn't say that he pooed himself, which leads me straight to Jason Punchin. He poos when he wants. He poos when he wants. It was a game between Southampton and somebody at St Mary's. I think he played for... No, he would have played for Crystal Palace at the time. Southampton and Crystal Palace then. And he had to go off just as the second half was kicking off because he had to go for a poo. I think that was the story, wasn't it? So and he came back on when he was done. Or, of course, you got to go to Gary Lineker, who had a little poo on the pitch at the World Cup at Italia 90 and wiped his arse like a dog would by wiping it across the grass.
Yeah, I was thinking Lineker as well. It's the fact that the camera picks him up, like saying to his mates, I've myself here, and then, like you said, he does the old gooch rub on the hallowed turf to get rid of all that gunge from his undercrackers.
The gooch, the spot between the balls and the butthole. Kyrie Irving is a very talented player who considers himself a thinking man from flat earth to anti-vax and worse. And there's only one answer in the world of football right now, and that is a certain Matthew Letitia, who has gone right off the whatever he's gone off. He's off his head, I think, most of the time. Just the conspiracy theories. I saw him the other day, on the For You page on Twitter, which is like people you don't follow but stuff you're interested in. He was on mine saying, well, the electric car conspiracy's over with then. Ha ha, they can't get us now. I'm thinking, what is the electric car conspiracy? What can governments do? Is it the fact that they can turn off the electricity so you can't charge your car anymore? I don't know what the conspiracy is. But yeah, Matt Letitia, fantastic footballer. Obviously, his career didn't reach the heights it should have because he was lazy, by and large, and he could have gone to different clubs like Chelsea and Spurs in the 90s, but he didn't. Mercurial, I think, is the word we use to describe his talents on the football pitch, but weird is what his current frame of mind is now.
The electric car conspiracy sounds like a really bad funk band, but yeah, in terms of someone being a space cadet, it's definitely Matt Letizia. If you want to go the other kind of side of it, someone who's a thinking man, but who is actually a thinking man, you've got to go with Eric Cantona and all this, philosophical waxings about trawlers and stuff like that. But
do you remember when Joey Barton was literally trying to make himself a thinking man when he was a player, like quoting Morrissey and stuff like that?
Yeah. I've told you about the time that I went to a Foles gig and Joey Barton turned up with his mates and Barton was trying to keep his head down at the back. His mates were just horrible. They were pissing in cups and throwing it at people, and it looked like they were in the mood for a bit of quality, let's say it that way. So we were just like, let's stay away from those horrible lads.
Yeah, they don't sound very nice, do they? We move on to Doc Ellis. Pitches a no-hitter in baseball, extremely hard and rare, while on LSD. Gaza? But Gaza still performed.
I was going to say the entire Arsenal team of the early 90s on the piss. Or it's got to be Maradona, USA 90. Absolutely offers nuts on the Colombian marching powder.
That camera angle where he's running towards the camera celebrating, his eyes are popping out his head is absolutely fantastic. Before we got to the LSD part at the end, I was going to say just Titus Bramble, because I've never seen him proverbially pitch the no-hitter in baseball, which is extremely rare and hard. Oh, no, extremely rare and hard. It's a good thing, isn't it? I was just thinking of Titus Bramble doing all the wrong things all the time. So I think there's someone who's scaled unthinkable heights while off their face, the exact opposite to Titus Bramble. Probably is Gaza or Maradona. It's got to be the two standouts. Paul Merson as well, but Yeah. Chad Johnson, which is a fantastic American name, I assume, legally changed his name to Okochinko? How are you saying that? Okochinko? Ocho Cinco. That's the one I'll go with. Cheers, Jaggers, for saving me. I was drowning. The jersey number he wore, the jersey number he wore. Oh, the Ocho Cinco. Chris Jericho. 8.
He's Chris Jericho. The one that pops to mind is, you probably have the same one, Ivan Zamorano at Inter. So obviously Zamorano was number 9 at Inter. Roberto Baggio came and demanded the number 10, but Ronaldo had the 10. So Ronaldo took the 9, and Zamorano was like, I'm number 9. He's like, I'll take 18, but make sure there's a little plus sign between the 1 and the 8, please.
Apparently,
that was the one for me.
Apparently that's why Mario Balotelli had 45 as well, because 4 + 5 = 9, but he couldn't have number 9. Yeah. The one that comes to my mind there is Edgar Davids at Barnet, when he gave himself the number 1 shirt because he believed he was the number 1 at the club. We should explain.
Are you going to say no to Edgar Davids, though?
I know. We should explain. Barnet, I think, were in League 2 at the time. So you got Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2. It's like the 4th tier of English football. I think they were at the time. Maybe even the Conference. And Edgar Davids is obviously, reached the top of the game. Inter Milan, Spurs, Ajax, Dutch International, one with the glasses on. He's an iconic man. And he arrived at League 2 or League 1, League 2 or the Conference, and just said, "Yeah, I'm the best here. I'll have number 1, please."
Yeah.
As we should say.
I remember when he signed for Barnet, and we were just like, really? Edgar Davids at Barnet? Oh, good luck to him.
Yeah. I don't know how he did. Let us know if you know. Ryan from Birmingham again. It's been an interesting few weeks as a Blues fan, to say the least. It seems our new ownership assembling the Avengers with Wayne Rooney, Ashley Cole and John O'Shea among the coaching staff. 3 big players in the game when I was growing up. My question is, which player from the current era or player who has recently retired do you think would be a successful manager should they choose to do so? If I had to pick a player who was recently retired, it would be Cesc Fabregas. Having heard him as a pundit, it's clear he has a keen eye for the game and has a very tactical mind, not to mention the wealth of experience he gained as a player. If I was playing the long game, my pick would be Martin Odegaard, as it's clear that he's a natural leader, a talented footballer and respected by his peers and coaches. We'll love to know your thoughts. Up the tune later on today. This was sent last week, but it still applies today. Another Wednesday game. Ryan Lavery there. Thank you very much, Ryan.
Fabregas is a great shout. I'm going to go on a bit of a journey through the mind of good old Clive F here. It always seemed to me as a kid, it was like the so-called lesser players who made the better managers. But obviously that's changed now with Pep and Zidane, etc., being at the top of the game on the field and off the field. So going on my initial beliefs, I want to say someone like Gareth Barry or Ryan Shawcross, not a Champions League winner, but a good, respectable career in the dugout. Or, James Milner. James Milner would be good. If we want to go for a superstar, I can see Kevin De Bruyne being mustard because he's a very good footballer and he seems like quite unflappable, quite steely. And you can imagine him in a suit looking like a giant baby, but somehow winning everything.
On Kevin De Bruyne there, his winner's mentality always shines. I sound like such a wanky gimp, don't I? His winner's mentality always shines through when you see these little behind the scenes videos of goings on at Manchester City, like training. He seems like he's got very high standards.
Yeah, and I think they'd follow him into a career in management. Ross, what about you?
I'll go Kieran Trippier. James Milner from you there is a very good shout, because I remember watching a couple of those, in Liverpool pre-season training videos out. I was always checking out the ones with the bleep tests on, just to see, and that one where they just do laps of the pitch, because obviously Milner, that's why he made his name at Liverpool, doing that sort of stuff up until he was 47 years of age. So Milner's a good shout, but Trippier, since he arrived at Newcastle, just watching him bark at people on the pitch. The guy runs games from right back. I say this a lot on this channel, but it's true. He literally runs games from right back. He had an awful game last weekend as we're sat here right now, which means, obviously, I'm saying this at the best possible time. But by and large, since he signed for Newcastle, he hasn't put too many feet wrong in a year and a half, going on 2 years. So, yeah, he's unreal. He's, you go through so many years as Newcastle did of having, you got best in class, then you've got, Europa League class, and you've got, just Premier League class, but they're not very good. We had 10 to 12, maybe 14 years of not very good. And when he arrived, you just saw, oh my God, we've got a proper footballer again for the first time in ages.
Yeah, I remember when you signed him. I think we probably had discussions in the office about how that was seen as a coup at the time. Because I want to say he was the first major name brought on board as part of this new Newcastle revolution. Unless I'm getting my timeline mixed up.
No, he was the first one. Yeah,
but it looks like it's paid off for him already. Like I said, playing in the Champions League with Newcastle United. Who would have thought we'd be saying that 2 years ago?
Not me. What a lovely man who came back to England to appease his wife and for a pay cut to boot as well. What a wholesome man as well. Hello, boys. As a big Wolves fan who had a glimmer of hope a few years ago, and I thought we'd be doing a bit of a Brighton before Brighton, I've seen big clubs coming in to nab our players. We as a fan base understood, and we were pleased for Neves getting his Saudi move for £1 bajillion, as he had been loyal and a great servant in his years here. But the likes of Mateus Nunes going on strike to force a move, which would have gone through anyway, as we were desperate for the cash, left such a sour taste in our mouths to the point where we made his life hell. Excuse me, a few weeks ago, and he got hooked at half time. Excuse me. Hopefully that made sense. I'm having a stroke. I'm rambling, so am I. But with the unbelievable form that one Pedro Neto is in at the moment, the inevitable derisory offer from a Big Six team coming in January through sheer arrogance. What are your opinions on the actions of the Big Six feeling they can offer lower transfer fees just to unsettle a player? Thanks for the content on both channels. That comes from Sam. So you should probably speak more to this because we don't do that.
It's a trickle-down effect, isn't it? I mean, unless you're Real Madrid or Barca, you will get bullied for players and talent will become unsettled. Speaking as a Liverpool fan, we've had it for years from Barcelona on many occasions, such as Coutinho going on strike and saying he had a bad back and all that until we kind of gave in and, pulled their pants down in hindsight. Saudi League tried to gut our squad before the season started. Obviously, Wolves will have no doubt done it to teams abroad or in lower leagues. It's unfortunately just the nature of the beast. There's only a handful of teams in the world that can get away with not getting bullied for the. I mean, look at the Bundesliga. Borussia Dortmund, every time they've fantastic squad, and Bayern Munich just go, we're having all them, and they just go, yeah, you are, aren't you? Here you go. But I can sympathise. But do you think, right, going off on a bit of a tangent, because obviously Neto pulled up at the weekend, didn't he, with his hamstring? If this is not just like a muscle pull, say if he's out for a little while and he comes back and he regains his form but manages to avoid any bids in January, do you feel this could be a blessing in disguise for Wolves, or do you think that they are a bit desperate without him?
A blessing in disguise because they'll get money for him eventually, do you think?
Oh, as in they'll definitely keep him for January and then, hopefully have him back for the rest of the season. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know the severity of his injury. I don't know. I haven't heard anything since.
If it's a big enough injury to put teams off, because we us lads in the WhatsApp group watching the game at the weekend were like, oh god, that Pedro Neto looks good. I know he's a very pacey player. He was going up against Dan Burn, who is the opposite of pacey. He is slow, so he was made to look even better than he probably is actually. But I've had him in the FPL team for a fair few weeks now, and every single week he gets an assist, so that means he's a very, very good player by modern day kid standards. But yeah, he is an exciting player, so if it is an injury that keeps him out until just about January arrives, I think that's enough to put teams off, and maybe does keep him at Wolves, and it might just be a blessing in disguise for the rest of their season. But then again, if he stays fit, I think he's a goner for sure next summer, because he is a fantastic footballer.
And to go back to Sam's question, what do you feel about the sheer arrogance of the top six teams and other teams for bullying over transfer fees?
I think it might be a dying thing in football because of one place in the world, and that is Saudi Arabia. I think we're going to be feeling like, we're going to be... How do I phrase this? As a Newcastle fan, I've seen the players like Yohan Cabaye, name any stand-up player Newcastle side of the Mike Ashley era. They always got sold on and it always was a heartbreaker. I think now teams at the top of the Premier League might be feeling that similar thing, missing out on transfers they would normally get before the Saudi Pro League was a thing, seeing players who they want to keep getting over to Saudi Arabia because the unlimited funds they can offer. I think it's a feeling that the big teams in the Premier League might feel more so than they would give to other teams, if that makes sense, in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we've mentioned it before that when when COVID hit with the COVID season, we thought we were reaching the kind of pinnacle of like late stage capitalism within football. We thought after the moves that PSG have made and stuff like this, we won't see players going for the crazy figures again. We thought that the kind of, with the economic trickle down effects of leagues getting postponed and paused and all that stuff, we thought, transfer, dealings will come down and it'll become a bit more sensible. But now we've got the Saudi league going and it's just gone absolutely berserk again. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where it goes, but horrible at the same time, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I support a team who paid $25 million for Chris Wood, so I don't know what it's like for my team to offer derisory fees for players. We seem to offer a little bit of the market value, then get charged a bit more on top of that as well. So I might get to know what that feels like over the coming years. I might not do.
Well, we'll wait and see. I mean, you might have so many riches from a lawsuit against AC Milan, which is what I think you should definitely do, by the way.
I think if they knew it, because we did get him some. Remember, captain, Champions League semi-final, Scudetto winner as well. We got him surprisingly easily. I know we paid 60 million, which some said was over the odds, but there wasn't really a back and forth of like, oh, we've made a bid. Oh, it's been rejected. Oh, we've made a bigger bid. Oh, it's been rejected. It felt like we made one big bid, and then that was it. He was sold straight away. So if they did know, I don't know what we can even get from that situation, but I think it's something we definitely need to sort of look at.
I mean, could you recoup some of the transfer cost? I mean, Milan are skint, aren't they? All the Italian teams are skint. I don't know. I think you should sue them, though.
Yeah.
Me sounding like a big horrible Thatcherite there. Sue them. That's the cure to all the world's ills.
No, it isn't, Jack Atkins. What you need to do is sell your Porsche. If you sell your Porsche, everything's going to be fine. Did you see that last week? Made me sick.
It's horrible, isn't it?
Against all the odds, I went to my father-in-law and said, I don't have the money to put down a deposit on a flat. He said, sell the Porsche. And I sold the Porsche. And what's better? I bought that same Porsche 10 years later. Talk about losing grips on reality, eh? Whatever. Right, that was the end of the Holding Your Football podcast. Episode 22. Two little ducklings. How are you feeling about it?
It's crazy. It's gone by in a flash. We're currently sitting here in the cold, dark depths of autumn. Me unwell and with a bad back. You just always glowing and wonderful as usual. And blowing some smoke there.
I always look very red on this podcast. It's these fancy Elgato streaming lights I've got. They always make me look like Alan Brazil on the radio. I'm not this red in real life, honest, even though the lights do make me look like that. Anyway, whatever. We'll end the podcast there. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back next week. No, we won't, because I'm away in Germany, so it'll have to be another placeholder podcast in some form. We'll work that out when we start recording. I leave on Sunday and hopefully come back early Thursday morning, unless I get stabbed or get lost or something else. So hopefully I'm back 2 weeks' time with our regular podcast. If not, it's been nice knowing you all. Thank you for giving Holden Give a chance. I don't know what I'm doing now. But yeah, we'll work out something for next week because I'm away. And then we'll be back with our regular scheduled broadcast for the rest of the year, I think. That's nobody else has got anything planned, have they? Are you going to die?
I've got a week off in a couple of weeks, but it's during an international break. And then after that, we should be all right.
Way aye, chips and pie. I've been Ross, joined by Jack Atkins. Enjoy your chips and pie, meat-free or meat variations. I never know how to end these. Right, see you later, everybody. Goodbye.